Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's Footnotes. We're joined by our dear Amanda, or as you may know her a little bit better, Gwynwood. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
I've also we have some props for tonight, which I'm a little bit excited about. Mm-hmm. Ooh, I might turn down the music in just a moment, a bit. But how's everyone doing? I know we always say feel like it's been a long time, and we're gonna keep doing that because it's true.
Very true. I'm doing pretty good. Actually, that session ended on a high note, so you know.
It did. We're not in the middle of a fight.
No.
You've taken a long rest and have all of your resources.
No one's dead.
Canonically, both Silas and Laurentius are shirtless, working sweaty on the roof.
Okay.
Okay. I would say it ended at a high point.
Can Gwynwood, is Meanie and Elle have been sipping margaritas underneath them, lounging in a chair?
You all. I will say, is Meanie for sure has a big hat if you sunbathe. Like one of those really big sunglasses, big hat.
I don't sunbathe. I go outside in long shirts, long pants, and a hat.
And an umbrella?
Yeah.
Hat and umbrella?
Hat and umbrella.
All right.
You can never be too sure.
Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna hit the music real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little too loud.
It's the belt and suspenders paradigm. You know, you gotta have as much
protection as possible.
protection from the sun as possible. You do not want to burn.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine, you talk about all these different things about adventuring and stuff. It's the realistic portions. And I'm gonna go on a tangent. Wet socks
Oh.
or wet leather boots, right?
Ooh.
You talk about packing when you're not packing a whole lot of things. Then you talk about having to maybe clean stuff if you don't have a wizard or somebody who knows prestidigitation.
That's why Gwynwood's just dirty all the time, because,
You only eat granola bars, you're getting sunburns, you have no bug spray. We kind of skim over all the awful parts. Not, the monster slaying and being shot at and stuff. That's not great either, but...
that's the fun part.
Right, but we don't get into the whole, you've had a granola bar for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 weeks straight.
An excellent post from one of our dear friends here. No toilet paper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is a genuine challenge you all have to deal with.
This is why Gwynwood's first infusion was the alchemy jug, so that way she could have infinite supply of beer and wine.
I believe it's a bidet jug at this point. Okay, Coco, come here. Come here.
She's
Coco was so excited to join us. Okay.
And then ran away.
That's fine. Our familiars always make an appearance, it seems. I have to say, Gwynwood has really come into her own over the past couple of months. Mm-hmm. And something we've been doing all through January, I think it's been a fun little theme, is we have everyone come and talk a little bit about, both as a retrospective of the past couple of months, where you were, where you thought you'd be now, and also some things you got coming forward, which I know is kind of the broadest net I can cast.
Yep.
But really, you're allowed to drive tonight as much as you'd like.
I think, something that the rest of the players don't know, but Gwynwood's whole purpose of becoming an alchemist...
Gwynwood's purpose... Why is Gwynwood an alchemist? That is a really good question.
Gwynwood, after her father died in the last war,
yes,
she kind of she went very sad. She got really sad about this because she really liked her father. She loved her father a lot. And she wants to make a permanent potion of invulnerability. That's her ultimate goal. Because it's her thought, if she had this, if her father had this, he would still be alive. So that's where she's kind of working towards. But she's now found a giant metal creature that she could tinker with, and her thought process might be shifting. She's like, ooh, weird science I could mess with.
You have found, I would say, several different forms of maybe areas of research you could potentially do in the future. Mm-hmm. We actually pulled out a few of these miniatures. You want to grab that other one here. So I guess we could go chronologically, I suppose. Mm-hmm. So first, we did have, you created life. This is your firstborn son.
And then I immediately killed him.
You immediately killed this tree a while back. For those of you who may not have caught it, Gwynwood worked with the Flask of Midas, an alchemist guild in the city, and ended up accidentally, we'll say accidentally.
It was an accident.
Creating life and ending life.
Didn't it involve wine?
It did involve her pouring
You decided
wine.
to add, I believe, it was a bit of wine towards the end there.
Yeah.
And so certainly there are ways through alchemy to create life, though it seemed very unstable and outside of your control.
Yeah, it was very angry and wanted to kill me immediately after I created it.
This one is something that I know that Amanda, maybe more as a player than a PC,
More as the player.
was very excited about. Scobrin, a massive wolf. I'll go ahead and hand you... I know, you've been wanting to keep Scobrin the whole time.
He's so cute.
this massive creature was from another plane. Tonight, I'd love to talk a little bit about the planar travel you all did. Because you're 5th level. It's way early for you all to be traveling between the planes.
Dangerous.
It's so dangerous. I
This
love
baby
it.
was having a panic attack the entire time, I think.
Yeah, so there's a lot of decisions that we make about our characters, like a lot of decisions we make in the moment, right? That was not something I had decided I was going to do until we had already done it. Took the temperature of the table and said, well, wouldn't it be interesting if, and just rolled with it. So now your wizard's afraid of planar travel. Sorry, I just thought it'd be interesting.
That's really fun, actually.
It's incredibly dangerous. Most of the terrible things your family has been trained to protect against aren't from this plane.
Right, why would we worry about stuff that's here? But to worry about stuff that tries to get here.
Soldiers are for dealing with stuff that's already here.
Right.
Calisters are for protecting about what's past that.
Right, so why would I go to where they're from? It's kind of my thought process.
That's fair.
So, yeah, that little sprinkle of something on top there. I liked it, though, as a player.
Oh, it was so cool.
This could represent another avenue of research. These 3 things here, I think, are possibilities for you. So whereas this is a natural thing that you created, you utilized alchemy and magic to bring about some sort of life, there is always the possibility of taking advantage of power that already exists and maybe utilizing this.
Yeah.
Perhaps you might slay this little Scobrin and use it to advance
Never
your
harmed
research.
Scopern, but there are other creatures out there, probably.
This is a Warforged Titan. Now, Amanda has faced off against one of these before.
Yep.
A few of them.
Oh, yeah.
How has that gone for you?
I mean, it was fine because we were very high level. It was hard, but it went fine. If that had awoken last session, we would have been dead. We would have all rolled for new characters.
I had a chase encounter prepped just in case. But so one thing that's interesting that I don't know if everyone watching was aware of is that unlike something like what the automaton we saw in the in the Halloween one shot that we ran previously, this is a Warforged that is actually a living being. It has a soul. It was created through by a magical device known as the Great Kiln, and that was created by some very bad people and was forced into servitude into a war. They're very big and very dangerous.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could experiment with something like this in the future.
Gwynwood still does not believe, as Meanie and Elle, that that's a living creature. To her, that's a machine. And she will keep arguing that that is a machine, and she should be allowed to tinker with it and make it so that way it works for them.
If this Warforged is a woman, does that make this Warforged a girl boss? That is the question we must ask ourselves.
Yes.
Yes.
Clella also has confirmed yes here in the chat. Thank you very much.
But I love Warforged.
They're very fun.
I love mechanically what they do. I love the base world building that you get whenever you get the Everon gun.
There's a conflict
Right.
that they were forged for.
Yeah, Warforged. And then they weren't people, but then they became people. I like that.
We did
And,
adapt some of that for our setting. It was not intended when the people of Barbada created them. Was intended to create something more like a mindless automaton,
Right.
but created sentient, soul-filled creatures.
It's a little scary.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a little scary.
Well, the Great Kiln is gone. No one knows what happened to it.
Oops.
It was scattered and shattered.
Oops.
There's this thing, right? We talk about, in different fantasy, sci-fi things, hey, it would be super evil to, get rid of, I don't know, the way you make an entire race of people, an entire species. Don't burn down all of the trees on a planet where birds must nest in the trees in order to
If
have
you kill the
babies.
tree in Avatar, where all the blue people are born, that's
Right.
probably bad.
So maybe if a party of adventurers, a very high level, accidentally, on purpose, possibly to some degree destroyed the only way to make Warforged,
Oops.
then
Well,
known.
the Warforged are much less common, so much so that Gwynwood, as well as nearly every other party member, has failed to meet one in their storied lives. We've had some stories this past year. Do you have anything? Now, we've been asking everyone what they'd like to, going forward, if they have things they're excited about. We're going to get into last night's session, I promise. And we're going to be talking a lot about the Battlesphere, our upcoming one-shot, in just a few minutes here. So stick with us.
But I want to add to that, too. Though.
Oh, please.
Again, it's January, and I want to look back on last year.
Oh, okay.
Like, what did you... yes, looking forward, but also let's take a minute and look back, too, about the last couple months of this campaign and kind of what your big highlights and big moments were.
Definitely destroying the tree was one of Gwynwood's like big highlights because she pretty much
You almost soloed it.
pretty much she just burned it down to the ground. She said, "Fire works well on wood. I will burn you."
True science right there.
There you go.
You had a theory, you tested it, you repeated the test.
That was right. But I think Gwynwood has also kind of grown. Her little tiny family, because her family was Chester, Silas, and her mother. And it's grown now and it has a full party. They are all like family to her. And so I think in that way she's starting to grow and see more people that are important. And that's why like the potion of vulnerability is kind of in her mind. But it's also like, okay, you know what? Maybe I don't need to make this. Maybe I could work on something else to protect my friends.
That's very sweet. You and Silas make my cold heart a little bit warmer each week.
Two parts of this have reminded me, not reminded me, but given me a flash of inspiration. And I've now decided, I liked asking everybody a question in January, and I have figured out what I'm going to ask people in February, thanks to you.
Aww.
Well, this is the last Footnotes of the month. Can you tell us?
Okay,
Yeah.
I've decided. Everybody that we've played with, to some degree, has had some kind of romantic story in their D&D sessions from their previous characters, and people have varying degrees of how comfortable they are having these relationships because, you know, either it's with a totally made-up person that's being played by the DM, or it's like one of their friends also at the table.
Sure.
And so I think that for February, I want to ask everybody about, like, hey, you know, do a little, like, test the waters and get a temperature on how people feel about romance at the table. Because that's a really interesting dynamic. Like, you're all out there slaying monsters, but if you get really heavy RP and you're like, best friends, worst enemies, dating, it's the whole extra thing to add on top of it. So that's true. I want to hear.
And we've had I would say we've had a massive amount of the spectrum from characters who were entirely ace to committed. We've had marriages. We've talked about the future of those characters and their children. So I think
we have a current player character who is the result of a wedding we had in a previous campaign.
Yes. Now, Clulla's not here at the moment, but a wedding that was officiated by Clulla's previous character.
I forgot that Clella officiated the wedding of
Clulla's parents
PC.
in the current
Parents.
PC. Oh, Clulla's family PC history is a tangled web, and
It's
I love
hilarious.
it. Oh, we're gonna make it worse as the years go on.
I'm excited because this needs to go on. This needs to go further. Can we make the elven line even more?
I'm excited to see what Jake has to say during Jake's time here next month.
I got inspiration, and I'm gonna see if I can keep.
I
getting
like it.
inspiration month
I
by month.
absolutely like it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So sneak peek, I guess, for February.
So, one thing I think we should maybe take a moment and talk about. There was a goal we've been talking about for quite some time. Now, it's displaying right now, and I don't think it's displaying properly. It is currently broken on the bottom of the screen, but nothing to worry about. We've actually already reached our Battlesphere goal. Now, if you have Amazon Prime, or if you just want to support us, we'd love it if you drop us a sub on Twitch. If you're following us on YouTube, give us a like and all those buttons and such. We also have a Patreon.
If you've got Prime and you link your Amazon account to your Twitch account,
It's free.
It doesn't repeat month over month, so you
That's
can only
true.
do the whole emote thing for 1 month. But if you keep re-upping it, you can keep using the emotes.
But because of all the wonderful support we've had here on Stories of D4 from people like you here in chat, we actually have hit our 25 subscriber goal, and we're going to be doing something called Tales from the Battlesphere. The first of potentially several one-shots set in a very special place that my players have heard about, known as the Battlesphere. Now, Amanda, you're not going to be joining us
Nope.
on
Not this time.
in this side of the screen. You're going to actually be back home as one of our wonderful people watching the story.
I have the a person I want to root for.
You have a person you want to root for? Do you want to tell us about this person?
Yeah, so it's actually our man behind the screen who usually sits over there, Alex. He will be joining us in the Battlesphere, so I'm really excited for that.
Yes, Alex is going to make his first appearance rolling dice here, and I'm so excited. Now, I've played with Alex before. Alex makes some very interesting characters. I want to say last time we played with Alex, it took about 5 minutes for the team to elect him as team leader for what they were doing in that circumstance. It was absolutely appropriate for that tournament they were in.
I feel nostalgic because my first home game of D&D, not like out at a store, very first home session of D&D, Alex was another one of the players, and so. I feel
Victoria and
like
I've played
full
quite a
circle.
bit with Alex.
I'm coming full circle.
So I think I've run a game for Alex where he's been, I want to say 3 different PCs, but I apologize. I'd have to triple check. Zex, Aram, and of course our dear grunty metal man from the most recent one shot. Now, we have the Battlesphere one shot, and now you might be here with us, hanging out, having some popcorn. We appreciate it. Just because if you haven't seen everything that has happened in the Stories to D4, no need to worry. This is going to be a relatively self-contained adventure. You don't have to do your homework. You don't have to go back in the feed. But we highly encourage you, if you haven't been keeping up, we keep all of our stuff available, both as VODs on Twitch, which do expire, but also they're always available on our YouTube page. And the Battlesphere is going to be a high-level, 11th level one-shot where the players are participating in bouts of the arena of the Battlesphere, a flying, planar traveling, massive construct where billions of gold are traded hands on bets on massive fights.
Good thing Zvini's not going to be there.
She's not going to be there. Again, nice self-contained.
There will be a bit of audience participation going on with some of the people that are going to be sitting in the stands are going to have quite a bit of an impact on the session, and I'm very excited to show a little bit as to how that's going to work. We'll talk about it on a far future Footnotes about how things work behind the screen. But I guess, can I mention when we're going to have this game here on Twitch?
Yeah.
The Battlesphere is going to be coming up here towards the end of next month on February 20th. That's a Sunday, so it's going to be replacing a Footnotes, and our players are going to be Connor, Alex, Victoria, myself, and a little man we know as Jake.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm always excited for whenever Jake brings a one-shot character out.
Jake has had some very spicy character. When we tell Jake this isn't the quote-unquote main campaign, Jake gets a bottle of sriracha, chugs it, just add a little bit of spice to everything.
I'm thinking of all the strange relationships I've had with Jake's one-shot characters and my one-shot characters. They've always been polar opposites.
Oh, yes.
Farmer bear wrestling nun and didn't necessarily gel really quickly.
I had not considered how the nun related to Jake, but that's absolutely fair.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm curious this time to see if maybe we're a little closer.
No.
Aligned.
No.
Now, Amanda, you'll be
Don't
sitting
know.
in the cheap seats
Yes.
in the Battlesphere. I'm curious. You bought your expensive ticket to come all the way out here to a strange sphere currently floating somewhere around Acheron, one of the outer plane of chaos. Now, I'm curious, as a spectator to this sport, what are you? Did I call you Gwynwood at the start of the sentence?
Yes, you did.
I think I did. I apologize, Amanda.
Gwynwood got a ticket.
Amanda, you're up in the cheap seats. What are you hoping to see here in this big fight? Because I've told you nothing.
Nothing. I don't know if the players are fighting themselves, if they're fighting a big monster.
I can tell you the party will primarily be working together over the course of the Battlesphere. They're trying to win some grand prizes, including absurd amounts of gold, magical artifact, and perhaps even living beings held within the halls of the very wealthy benefactor, 40.
I could see some fun nonsense happening with some anti-magic fields.
Let me
Sorry.
just take a note of that.
Why would you be in my
Anti-magic
I-
field.
Oh, well, there won't be an L there, so it's not like we'd kill L instantly.
You are correct in that sense.
No L there, but, that's a fun challenge that a lot of players don't think about until it happens, and then you go, I'm a short dwarf who only has a 25-foot range. and
Pocket
you're
queen.
80 feet away from me. How do I get to you?
The first time I was in a party that fought a beholder, we did not know what we were doing. We did not know
Session
what
18 of last campaign.
Mission 18 of last campaign, we fought a beholder. We were
How do I know that?
terrified. We kept trying things. None of our gear worked.
No,
I
it was.
do it. I don't like being in an anti-magic field.
Beholders are absolutely terrifying. Luckily, their cone is directed. I have to say, they have a relatively unique thing where they set the direction of their eyeball each turn. And some people don't like that because it's a little too mechanical, or it's too gamey that they set it and forget it. But I actually really like it as a challenge.
Yeah. Jeswin managed to take advantage of that one time and banished it when he turned away from her. So that way it's like, okay, we have a minute, let's get out of here.
We also had the time where they were, it was Bard and Wizard standing next to each other, so why would the Beholder look anywhere else? The first time, it was Bard and Wizard were standing right next to each other.
They're very
We were
intelligent.
on a bridge.
And the Beholder, now, we try to make sure to clarify for the folks who maybe haven't played Dungeons & Dragons, but would like to maybe try it someday. A Beholder is a large, typically large size, floating creature. It is a giant eyeball with tentacle-like eye stalks.
Staring at one right now.
There is one behind us. If you ever take a look at the Monster Manual for 5th edition, it is depicted on the front cover. Big teeth. Think Mike Wazowski with a bad hair day and all of his limbs have been removed. But they're very terrifying. Their eye stalks can shoot lasers and their eyeball is an anti-magic cone. You don't have a Monster Manual.
We're looking for his-
Oh, Xanathar is also a
Yeah.
Beholder.
It's a little bit harder to
We
see
can,
there.
here, I got long arms. Let's see how this works. Oh, wow. That's a
Wow.
very cool Xanathar. No.
There is a Beholder.
Whoop. And cool. Sorry, I had to rotate to make this a little bit clear. But a Beholder, as you see, absolutely disgusting. Love them to
Terrifying.
death. I own like 7 different Beholder miniatures. Oh my gosh. I think it's only barely an exaggeration. I think we have 6 Beholders.
We have also like the ones that aren't Beholders, but they're the roller ones.
Oh, we have spectators, and we have, yes. I don't have a Death's Head yet, which I really would like. Or, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't need more Beholders. What are we talking about?
But, anti-magic is just a fun challenge because the gear, that's one thing people don't think about. Oh yeah, all your gear now doesn't work, as long as your
Yes.
spells. And there's just a lot of things you have to figure out how to deal with.
Yeah, I'm having flashbacks to that fight. That was such a bad fight.
If you're
Yeah.
L, you just go down and you're dead probably.
Yeah,
Oops.
temporarily dead, potentially. Maybe permanently. But,
So, anti-magic field, I'm glad to hear about that. And now, I hope you'll all be joining us for the Battle Sphere. The Battle Sphere is going to have, we've now told you, we did tell you a while back about one thing. There is going to be a high level encounter against one or more giants. Now, I think we've told a little bit about the party. We're going to be doing a big campaign over on our Twitter as well as our Discord where we'll be revealing the different characters that'll be meeting there, talking a little bit about the builds we'll be seeing as players are building a little bit more. When you build a character that's higher level, you can do a little bit more of the crunch, mechanical easing together. Amanda, you had something you wanted to add.
I'm so excited to see Connor's character.
Connor, now we're not going to reveal too much about Connor's
Okay, I'm not
character
gonna say anything.
on the line here yet. But what I can tell you is that Connor is playing a character that has there's a fondness in the hearts of several of the stories to D4 crew, and I'm excited for you to see this magical martial hybrid of a character. Alex as well has quite an interesting character, and I think we're going to be seeing a fair bit of damage dealt to him and him shrugging it off.
I think his is going to be the strangest character anyone has ever seen.
I have been threatening my DM for 3 years with my character.
You have. We have a running gag about playing Tabaxi, as they are often very silly. Now, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
The inspiration
The
behind
time has come.
The inspiration behind this character also, there was throughout the course of our campaign from level 1 all the way up through level 20, kind of like a fight for who was the fastest. And I was a dwarf.
It was absolutely Jason. There was never
There
a
was no
competition.
fight.
No,
there's no
no.
competition. against
Early
Jason.
level, early level though. Early level, Alex played a character that was the fastest in the party at the time.
No.
Flexi was faster.
That just means that we all didn't know the rules. Coolacino's been the fastest since level 2,
Well,
unfortunately.
I tried to build a monk that would be the fastest character that I could build.
This is going to be very
as a
exciting.
Player character.
We're working, and we can't reveal anything about it yet, but we're working on a special bit of miniature terrain that we might be using here for the battle sphere that I've got some plans. I've got some ideas about where exactly we'll be going here. Mobility is going to be quite rewarded in the battlesphere. Both land speed and flight speed. Now, you're not happy with that one? You don't like that response?
Okay, new pitch. To back to sorcerer so I can fly also.
So I did get a question actually over on Discord recently that I wanted to answer here on One Footnotes. The reveal of Trebor the Barbarian is actually going to be next week for our first February Footnotes, where we will also be doing our next drawing. As we're doing these essentially once a month, we'll reveal them on the first, reveal last month on the first, and draw a new one. It's kind of a special thing we'll be doing on the first Footnotes of the month.
Cool.
You all planar traveled. We kind of alluded to this earlier. Normally, plane shift is a 7th level spell, I want to say. That sounds correct?
I think so, yeah.
Which would mean it's a 13th level wizard is the earliest you'd normally be able to do that. 13th level PC.
Is it a 6th level?
No, I think it's an 8.
It's certainly 7th or 8th, but my point stands of it being higher than level 12 for the player, huh?
It's 7.
It is 7? Okay. So plane shift is the ability to travel to any of the planes in the setting that you're currently playing. You all traveled to the Feywild by passage known as Feygrass, or the Purple Gates. What was it like as low-level players? I've never had this opportunity, and I just thought this was a very fun way to go. What was it like going to the Feywilds not knowing what was going to be past that tree?
It was a little scary.
They were also horrified.
Right? Like, Gwynwood was a little bit like, ooh, look at all this weird fauna and plants that I could potentially use for alchemy, but also I shouldn't touch the purple stuff that might be sacred. Got it.
Connor never told everyone what the leaves were.
No.
No idea what the leaves
There were magical items given to Connor that have not been brought up yet. And you know,
It's Connor.
so the Feywild itself is where you got to go to Scobrin's Grove, so you got to enjoy spending some time with this. It's hard to see because I'm wearing a black hoodie, but this wolf-like creature. We'll put more pictures on the Discord. This massive wolfy creature.
It's purple background.
Oh, perfect, purple. And you ended up saving a lot of people, getting the favor of both a literal favor from a Princess Josephine, as well as the favor of Captain Krennic of the Guard. I would say this was a huge win from all the party.
Can we just talk that we elected Ismini to be the party leader real fast?
Okay. I'm going to call us all out. This happens all of the time.
All the time with you.
Where we do not pick the right person to be the party leader.
Nope.
Have we ever one time elected the correct person to be the party leader?
I think Helves.
I would say the Guardians.
I think Hel was the leader in that.
Hell was not.
The Guardians had 3 rotating leaders depending on what the threat was. Is it how magical is it? It might be Ibra. How hard can we smack it? It's going to be Kevril. Can it talk? It's going to be Finland.
But it took us 2 years to get there.
Fair.
I don't know if in this particular instance Ismini was the. I will
No,
take it.
in this instance, Ismini, because you're the most politically, savvy of all of us. Jorson would have, or not Jorson.
Whoa.
Wow.
Thorin.
We're talking. Thorin would have just insulted the guards. Let's be real. He would have just been insulting the guards.
You also did get called Gwynwood earlier instead of me.
Yeah.
That was at a human.
Yeah, that was a
Gwynwood, also not that great in the social. Would not have known what to do with the favor. Would have probably just opened it up and been like, "What's this?"
Then we've got Elle. Elle, I would hope, would know what to do and is slightly more personable.
Yeah.
A lot slightly is not nice. It's a lot more personable.
In saying this is too lawful good, and then he would feel the need to tell them everything. I feel like he doesn't know how to lie if needed.
Do you think that either of your characters may willingly go back? Do you think either of them are going to try to travel back to something like the Feywild?
Gwynwood wants to mess around with that healing water, and maybe potentially, seeing some fun. If there's more alchemical ingredients and stuff poking around in the Feywilds.
As a player, absolutely, this is hilarious. As a PC, no, not until I can reliably get back on my own.
And I believe Amanda.
We're gonna go back because I'm not gonna be the person who says let's not do it. But as Ismini definitely does not want to go back.
Amanda actually mentioned briefly before the stream talking about this. Now, you described some sort of friction between being a player and being you, Victoria, wanting something and you, your character. And I think you all do a fantastic job of separating those out. But when you want something different from another player, what has been, for you, Amanda, how do you like to navigate those waters where you and some terrible person who sits across the table or some terrible person over there that you're bickering, you want something different than them? You as players, I know we don't have fights. We haven't really had any real inter-player conflict. But when you and another player character want something else different, what's your go-to way of handling it? How do you like to do that?
I like to try to just keep myself in Gwynwyn's mind, be like, okay, I can't do whatever Amanda wants. What would Gwynwyn want in this situation? And I try really hard to focus on that and not just Kay because another party member wants it.
Top 3 reveals of our last campaign I fought against doing for an hour straight as Victoria and my character. I've learned my lesson. I was humbled. And I've learned that I am going to fight against it, but
lose.
But I'm a player, first and foremost. I get that, the story's got to move on and we're not going to grind to a halt because of this, so I will give as many concessions as possible. Yeah. Because in the interest of playing. And we have fought in character before real bad in certain situations, and we're all like, okay, you know what? We're good. We all
get
figure it
meta.
out, but...
To get meta, I think this is actually one of the ways that we actually have, I would say that streaming has not just been a problem, but has actually improved the campaign. And I want to go to an early event. Now, this is something that Amanda wasn't present as her character from that campaign yet, but Amanda's familiar, and we had similar times. Early on in that campaign, the players had access to a wish spell through an item, and the players sat down for a session debating what to do with it.
We had 6 to 8 hour sessions previously.
And so, now, here's the thing. The players had a wonderful time. We had our lunch break, everyone was chatting, having a great time, came back.
French onion dip and carrots.
French onion dip and carrots, gotta love it. Thank you, Clella. But having a 6-hour debate on a show is incredibly difficult to make interesting. Now, we're 4 hours, so a 4 hours straight where we're gonna sit at a table in the campaign and are debating something doesn't really work in a show.
I mean, we got into taxes at one point during a session, and we sat there arguing over what our taxation should look like for a while. So
I still have those spreadsheets.
So streaming at least is keeping us, to a degree, it's keeping us honest, and it's keeping us from staying as hung up on something, because as a player, you lose track of time, and you're like, no, I have feelings now. We're doing this way or not.
And last session, we had a point where I told you it's been a couple of days you've been relaxing. And in the previous campaign, I think if we did any sort of time skipping, we're like, well, here's how many hours do we have? How can we utilize this time?
Right,
and there's good times for that. We've done great downtime, and we're going to have more downtime in a session or 2.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Possibly even weeks, maybe a month or 2.
I haven't found my master project for my entire character's life yet. I don't want downtime.
But
Gwynwood with hers.
you all have done such a great job we've been able to, I think, keep things rolling. I think as we go on, we're getting a little bit better. And so hey, good job last year. You want to keep playing?
Yeah.
We've got about 42 more sessions this year, I think. Somewhere around that, not counting our various one-shots.
Yeah. I am looking forward to it because it's happening. We're about to go into session 20.
Is there a dice bag around here?
No, they're all in the dice trays. Wherever they...
Amanda.
Uh-oh.
I had a question I'd like to ask you.
Uh-oh.
A question that you do not have to say yes to. You are not being put under duress here, but there are
Question that requires
63,000 people watching right now.
Yes, about.
I would like to know first, it's a two-parter question. First, Amanda, the Battlesphere is going to be a series of Battlespheres. Now, they're not going to be coming at a consistent time. Don't worry about anything like that. Would you like to be in a Battlesphere one-shot?
Oh, yeah.
In the future? Secondly, would you like to roll stats for whoever she is?
Sure.
Excellent. I'll go ahead. I'm going to get you a different dice tray since this one's so filled with stuff. No, I did not prep any of this for this.
No, you did not. Not at all.
I was just going to say, wow, it's so nice that we're like a party now.
I might need a different...
Oh, please, tell us about that while we're
Dice
reading
bag.
dice and stuff. How are you feeling about it, Victoria?
Oh, I'm just excited. It's really nice that we are starting to work together even more. We're getting through that awkward transition of total strangers to like best friends for life. We're not quite to the end of that yet, but we definitely are more in like a. Silas trusted. Silas trusted Thorn in the fight to like, oh, don't touch the magic rock. Okay, I won't. Whenever I think even a couple sessions previous, it would have been really hard as these characters. Again, we're players. We're gonna meta it a little bit, but as characters to really justify why Silas wouldn't say, I don't know you, and go pick up the magical rock.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest sign that we've really hit that point where we're starting to work together and learn what the other people are about, learn what we're doing.
Silas's growth has been quite incredible, and I think before we have you roll these dice,
Of course.
I want to say a very specific shout out to Jake for I gave a set of customized items, some homebrew, some not, last session, and Jake made an incredibly tough role-playing choice. Mechanically, it was a bad choice, and what that I mean is Silas gave up an item. Jake gave his item to another player. This is incredible role play.
Yeah.
He talked about it a little bit, how Silas will not give up who he is or feel ashamed by being an elephant, being a loxodon, and I think that's very interesting.
That was so touching when he said that.
Oh yeah, I had a brief moment where I was like, Jake, are we good? Are you disappointed in your item? And he was like, no, I want this, but no.
Yeah.
Very clever. So good job, Jake. I know you were in here earlier, and if you catch us later, hey, you rock, man. Now, Amanda, would you like to roll 4d6 six times? Victoria, you got a notes app out for us? Thank you kindly. Okay, not a bad start. That is an 11. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did math. I should look straight up.
You can do math. No, math is hard.
Oh,
Who
math
likes
is
doing
hard.
math?
Oh, I like this one.
8. Yep. Math is hard. Adding 4 numbers together is quite difficult. I'm really glad right now Firebolt is only 2 die plus a 5.
We're going to be re-rolling this set, I think. That is a 5.
No, that's a 6. That's a 3.
3, 4, 5. You discard the lowest.
6. Yeah.
Got one.
Yep.
3 ones and a 3.
Yeah.
Give us nothing.
A 6. I will actually ask Amanda if you end up wanting to try this character because it's so ridiculous.
I feel bad now because I heckled. You're using Jake's dice, that's why.
That is fine.
8. Okay, another 11.
How many more?
I think 2 more, right?
5. We've got 5 so far.
Oh, so 1 more.
1 more.
18.
Thanks.
If it's an 18, I'll be so happy for you. Okay, wait. 15.
Yeah, we're not
Now,
doing that.
Amanda, if you now here's the thing: everyone has an option to take a reroll. You can choose to take a crippled character, where you have some sort of massive mechanical deficit on the character, or you can roll and play a power fantasy, which is absolutely allowed. No one is allowed to shame you for whatever you'd like to do
What are the
here.
numbers again?
Okay, in order from lowest to highest: 5, 6, 8, 11, 11, 15.
Yeah, I'm gonna reroll.
You're gonna
that.
reroll that? All right, let's get another one.
Too many negatives in
No,
that one.
no.
No. Yeah, we're putting like
Grab
Jake's
the
dice.
frog.
Not the frog, the other bag.
The white bag in there. There
Yeah.
we go.
Let me use my dice,
Yeah,
not
we're
Jake's
just gonna-
dice. 'cause
yeah,
Yeah, Jake's dice are
cursed.
cursed. We remember
Jake the cursed.
circa session. What was it, like 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one I wasn't here for.
Silas is no good, very bad
no,
day.
not that one. The
Yeah, way back in whenever we first met Jared, that was a curse. We all were having a bad session that time. That was some of our worst rolls.
I was talking about his 10 nat ones in one
Oh,
session.
yeah. That was a 16.
That was the one I was not here for, and I was saying, use my dice, and he refused to use my dice.
We would have passed the curse on.
No, see, the pink dice doesn't like me. It likes other people. I specifically have a d20 in here that likes other people, not me.
Okay, let's go.
9.
Okay.
9 it's a decent number.
It's a number.
I'm very excited about this.
12.
Okay, that's a number.
You need 12s. 12s get around.
Right.
Oh,
Ooh,
18.
You got 3.
I got 3 sixes.
Yeah.
this array is already going to be fine. Now, I'm hoping for like a 4. No. I hope you roll whatever characters you want to build.
That's a 16.
16.
Okay.
So much better.
I think at this point you could roll anything and still be okay.
Yeah.
If you roll a 3, I want you to keep it. Another 18.
Another 18.
Okay, Jake, your dice are cursed.
Jake's dice are cursed.
How many more? 2 more, right? 1 more?
One more?
One more.
1 more.
My dice
Come
like
on.
me, Jake's dice hate me. Good to know for
Gwynny needs a new pair of heels.
Yes.
That's
14.
that's 14.
Yeah.
That's an absurd array. That's like a Lilier's array.
So in comparison, this one from lowest to highest is 9, 12, 14, 16, 18, 18.
You know?
Would you like to make something really so the Battlesphere itself, there is gonna be lots of still gonna be lots of role playing, but is intended as an excuse for our players to both get to try flexing their mechanical chops, building optimized characters, or trying out a funky build they've never done before, as well as on top of that, as a dungeon master, I get to make maybe encounters that are mechanically interesting, have cool working parts and gears that all slot together, but are kind of hard narratively to use.
Go ahead and pass over that girl boss sign.
Oh yes, girl boss right here.
Whoa.
I know some of it's obscured, but here, if you want to move your phone,
Yeah.
we can go ahead and get that. You know what? Girls bosses.
No, that's all Amanda though.
Double 18.
Double
I'm
18.
very
That's very
excited
good.
that that's for a one
So
shot.
much better than Gwynwood's ability scores, too.
Oh, Matthew, you said I could use these on Gwynwood, right?
Can I just swap out these for Gwynwood's?
Full Ruth spec. Totally different.
You find the mirror underneath the ship in Divinity?
Love that mirror. Can we have a mirror?
No. So, we're going to talk now. You have no rush. We have lots of time. The Battlesphere itself isn't for another month. But I'm very excited. We'll make sure to keep those. Those will get saved, and we'll talk about that in the future whenever you'd like to chat about your one-shot character.
That'd
Or
be
maybe
very
even
fun.
on a future footnotes, we could build out a character. Was there any a class that you'd like to try, a race that you'd like to play as?
I'm getting them out of my possession now.
I don't know. I have a backup character for the campaign, and I don't think I
Okay.
want that for the one shot. I think I want to do something very different than that.
Absolutely. That's a very good thing to do. Jake, I'm going to once again I like to praise our characters who aren't here, our players who aren't here. Both Jake and Chloe have expressed opinions that they really like to use one-shots to try something that's quite different. Now, the way they mean that is different for each of them, but trying something that's in some axis has changed a bit can be really helpful as a player. And all of you seem to really improve whenever we do a one-shot. When Amanda joined us for a certain one-shot we did, I think, Amanda, you came out of the other end. Came out of the other end of Gliara, a changed woman.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was my first time being a spellcaster, and I picked Bard at level 20.
a 20th level bard as your first dip into magic. I liked it, and you were also a villain. You got to actually turn on the party halfway through.
Yep.
So, great job.
That's so mean. But your bard inspired parts of my bard too, so thank you.
So just like how our session sort of ended with this, I'd like to end our footnotes. I know we're not at the end yet, but I have one topic I'd like to discuss that we kind of got just the last little smidgen of. I guess it's a two-parter. The end of last session, session 19, you all saw the Vigilantes once more. The Lionheart, Bastellus, and finally you met Arcus, who was apparently your dear friend Chester Piffle.
Who's in a lot of trouble. He's in a lot of trouble with Mama right
And
now.
what did they ask Victoria and the rest of your what did they ask the Defiant Smiles for help with?
A heist.
A heist.
A heist.
Now we've stolen things, but I don't know how formalized heist you've done.
Whenever we saw the wanted poster, I owe myself $5 because we saw that wanted poster for Arcus, and I'm like, I just wrote my notes. Okay, that's Chester, and I was just gonna be watching for that vigilante.
I said the word crossbow, and I watched Jake and Amanda go.
Yeah.
Chester.
I didn't know Chester, but I did know that it was a dwarven word, and so I just assumed it would be Chester because Chester's not a dwarf, but woman is.
I did give myself away a lot of. I used some common roots and similarity that it's a dwarven word. That's a human.
That's Chester.
You figured it out.
Yeah, I felt
Absolutely.
really proud of myself for that one, and I know that everybody else also saw it coming, but
Yeah.
fantastic.
There are gradients of mysteries. There are mysteries you want your players to solve easily, medium, and mysteries that you set up that you think there's no way my players are figuring this out for quite some time. This was meant to be somewhere in the easy to medium range. Got it faster than I intended, absolutely. But my players are killer.
Well, it also makes your players feel clever. Give your players. Like,
Yes.
they always say, like, whenever you play puzzles, like
First grade puzzle book.
toddler to first grade, like truly, depending on how hard you want them to be, you want them to be solvable by a room of 5-year-olds.
Yes.
Because you kind of are now sitting around a table yelling at each other. Similar energy.
And drinking,
Yeah.
not always the best brains are being operated on.
So besides interrogating your childhood friend Chester,
Yes.
you have a heist coming up. How do you as players, I know your characters, we heard a little bit about them last time. How do you as players feel about getting to plan and execute a heist?
Oh, so excited.
I could cry. I could cry tears of joy right now.
We read a heist book together, and this one was obsessed.
Your book club, yes.
I pushed the issue and said, "Hey, we're doing book club and we're reading Six of Crows. Read it with me." And I'm kind of obsessed with the heists, and yes,
They're really fun.
they're really fun because there's a heist formula that is just, it does not matter. I love the heist formula.
We're currently at "You son of a bitch, I'm in,"
yes.
and that's you.
Right.
You're that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, there's this portion of the heist that happens at the end where everything goes wrong, and you find out, oh yeah, no, that guy totally meant to fall down, break his ribs, and get sent to prison. That was all part of the plan. And I am so excited for that moment of all part of the plan. I cannot wait for the hidden
Whose plan? Which of the three?
I don't know. I don't know which one of these three vigilantes is gonna have this hidden, like, oh yes, I did need to sink the harbor.
Who's the mastermind? That's the real question.
Right.
It's not Chester.
You're
Gwynwood can tell you that right
stealing
now.
an item that's going to be on display at one of the High Lord's homes. They've recently acquired a small statuette of a fox. Now, what it does, why they want it, that's something we're gonna have to talk about next session. But it's a small object. There's so many. I've started making a map of the building itself so that you could talk about plans of attack and such.
Also gonna be a giant paper so we can all.
There may be a large paper. We may have to find a way to scan it in so we can have it shown here for our audience. But your characters don't mind the idea of stealing itself, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
I don't care. We're not lawful. I'm lawful. I'm not good. Sorry.
You're also stealing from something that is okay to steal might be okay for some of your. Silas is going to have the hardest time.
Silas is still such an interesting character to
Yeah,
me.
absolutely.
Because it's like, okay, there is some part of me, and Jake, I am calling you out, but in a loving way. In all the characters I play, I make sure that there's still enough of me in there that I have some influence over what they do. And I feel like Silas is so lawful and so good.
It's
that,
so opposite of Jake.
the chaotic energy that you want to bring in isn't quite able to be met by the character, and I'm loving watching this struggle at the table. Jake trying to play a lawful good character is the best thing ever.
Jake is our kobold goblin hybrid of a person.
Right, and I love it, and the energy's always hilarious, and so now it's like, oh yeah, we all want to go, like, I don't know, beat up this guy, shake him down for his lunch money, and like just set him up in a tree, not tie him up, just like put him up there and like watch him try to get down. And Jake's like, no.
If
Why
Silas
would you do that?
if Silas was more into cooking than painting, I believe that Silas would be the friend that packs the sandwiches when we all go out to the park.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's the friend mom,
Yeah.
the mom friend.
I think Gwynwood and Chester are gonna have to sit down on Silas together, their combined weight, and like convince him to do this.
I'm excited for the talk of how.
Why are you? She's got a lot of crazy energy.
I'm excited to see how you all talk about what you're doing, as well as doing some planning and execution of a heist.
Although we all know that D&D plans never go.
No, we're gonna set a timer. You're gonna do your planning. I've also.
World time.
Have any of you ever? Do either of you ever? Are any familiarity? Whoo! Lose my words with Blades in the Dark.
No.
It's a very interesting system. Some people have talked about it online, done a bit of reading, but there is this idea of doing a flashback to here. I planned on this happening.
Yes, actually, okay. I don't know what it was, but there was one. It was Honey Heist. Honey Heist has a system for that too, where you choose to you have this range between bear and criminal. If you go too far in one way, you're too much of a bear, and you go too far in the other, you're too much of a criminal. And it's the exact same thing where you can choose to initiate a flashback to like adjust what your ranking is on that scale.
I have a modified. Now it's more. It's gonna be a little more mechanical. I got a way we're gonna handle this, but I think you're gonna like what we're doing.
We also need to now figure out immediately how to get like a sepia filter onto all of our cameras at the same time.
You may need to get ready for a bit of shopping for this next session, as most of your clothes aren't quite up for a High Lord event.
Except for Thorn.
Oh, Thorn! Yeah,
Thorn
for
does.
some reason our dirty bartender has suddenly started looking like an upper crust man.
Especially with that new flower in his lapel.
Yeah,
Still,
that was.
soft dew from the Feywild, ever a present.
That is probably the cutest thing ever. No, okay.
You all have
Second
to
to Coco.
bar Gwynwood from like any labs and any potions or anything for that day, because otherwise she will have soot all over her face.
There's like we've got a set of ground rules, I think, now. Like, okay, here's what everybody's not allowed to do. Like,
Yep.
we all know our roles. But okay, Sweetie, stop trying to put rugs into the cart. Elle, don't run away from everybody. And just like go off and fight everybody on your own.
Don't cast grease on random strangers.
Thorn, I'm not sure what. Maybe don't try to read the instructions to us. Like, let us see them first. Like, I'm not sure, but I think that we need to find, like, the line for each person, because we each have one. Silas, don't call the guards on us.
And I think it's gonna be a fun way to have it's not an anniversary, but our 20th session. It's a milestone.
Yeah.
All of you have done such a great job developing your characters, gaining magic items, spells, abilities, all sorts of stuff.
We kept them alive for 20 sessions.
20 sessions, no player death. Let's fix it. No?
No.
Well, I'm gonna let Coco go relax. But truly, I think that this is going to be a fun capstone for this sort of plan that you've got going on here. And maybe, just maybe, just want a little peek? You want a peek? Maybe, just maybe, this will help lead you towards one of your main antagonists in the end. And who knows? Since High Lord Branson is there, maybe his number 2, Noah O'Brien, will be there as well.
O'Brien's his number 2?
Yeah!
What?
You knew that. O'Brien Steel was run by Noah O'Brien, and
Right.
of course his
Yeah.
his boss was High Lord Branson.
Was he the Char? I think on the line.
No, that's Walt Behringer.
Behringer.
Behringer makes the carts.
Okay. Okay.
He's in charge of the Wainwrights Guild.
Oh, I guess we can have another destroying of capitalism for Elle there.
You made the fantasy equivalent of car, like automobile industry, the evil.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, that's right.
Fair.
Let's
You know, like a guy's name who's just a slight tweak on Derringer.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really sad that I just now caught on to that.
Well, we've got lots of things coming up. Anything before we kind of sign out for the night? Is there anything else you'd like to add here? Anything from Gwynwood or Amanda last year? Thing coming up in the future?
I will say I'm looking forward to level 6.
Level 6. Is there anything big coming up for you in particular? Just
There's some new infusions.
new infusions. There's a lot of artificer infusions out there.
And I might have the potential to roll above a 30.
At level 6.
Yeah, because expertise and tools, so double my proficiency.
Yeah.
My alchemist tool, I get the +5 my intelligence plus my proficiency, so that's +11.
Okay.
I roll in that 20, that's a 31.
So we push Silas off a cliff and he comes back with his bard, and then we can all roll over. You can roll like a 40. And like
One of
a
my
level.
players in the upcoming Battlesphere one shot, which I cannot tell you anything specific about it, has the ability to roll a 46, I believe, on one particular type of check. Now, what is the record roll at our table? I believe in this campaign, no one's rolled above I don't think anyone's hit a 30 yet.
No,
I think we've had a 28. I don't think we've had a 29 yet.
Gwynwood's rolled 28.
We got a 28, so Gwynwood is currently in the lead. We'll have Connor start tracking these sorts of things.
It was either me or Jason, I think.
Always going to require expertise at this point to beat, but hey,
Is the high 40s almost 50?
It was a
45. I know we hit.
I know we hit
It was
47.
hit a 43. I think we hit a 48.
But so
With flash
big,
of expertise.
high,
Expertise.
scary rolls. Gwynwood hitting level 6. Something you'd like Gwynwood to survive level 6 is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
We don't need those other levels anyways.
I want a bag of holding. Let's be real.
Absolutely. Victoria, do you have anything you'd like to add here besides come see the Battlesphere? Come join us on this Friday for session 20.
If anybody can find any way possible to make Ranger fit with Wizard, let me know. It just isn't working for me.
I have a solution for it.
Don't be a Ranger. Be a fighter.
Change the spellcasting ability. That does weirdly work, doesn't it?
That does.
We'll have to talk about it. Maybe another time. We are gonna call it here. Amanda, thank you so much for driving down.
Thank you for having
joining
me.
us for Footnotes, hanging out with Victoria, myself, and I guess a 2-inch version tall of Anakin Skywalker. Who knows what that's for? Maybe that'll come up in the future here on Stories to D4. Anyways, y'all have a great night. We'll see you this Friday for session 20, the heist for the Velvet Vulpine. Good night, everyone.